For too many black men, America is less of a dream and more of a nightmare. In a recent study on income, education, and employment, black men lead in 4 categories: incarceration, and unemployment, underemployment, and mortality. Most of our boys won't even live to see manhood, where it is by the hands of the police or one of our own. Joining me are a number of black men from all walks of life to talk about our America. I'm Simone Malone, and this is Like It Is.
What we see around us, we don't believe that because we want to buy into standards.
We have to prove that we're good fathers. When, as far as the mothers, it's just assumed.
So I'll wait on the check. I'll keep my self-respect first.
I'm a black man trying to save a black man, and I noticed as I looked around the whole room, there's no one helping me.
The reality is, if it affects you, it affects me.
Welcome back to Like It Is. I'm Simone Malone. I want to welcome this amazing panel of some black men right here from Philadelphia. Give yourselves a hand for being here. The first question I want to ask, and any of you can answer this question because we're going to have a heart-to-heart conversation. I want you to be yourself and answer it as best as you know how. The first question I want to ask you is, where do the black man fit in America? You know, everything has to fit accordingly to the effectively. So where do the black man fit in America? Who wants to answer that? Who wants to be the first person?
I'll take that on.
Tell us your name.
Reverend Langston Washington, pastor of Bethany AME Church, Philadelphia. At one time, we were considered to be third on that totem pole. We're now at the very bottom. We have fallen even behind the incoming Asians. There is very little respect for us, partly because some of us don't demand the respect that we are required, that is due us. But we are very, very low on that spectrum in the American economic system.
Okay. Is anybody else? Go ahead, say your name, sir.
My name is Dr. John Taylor. I'm a Philadelphia educator. I teach high school here in Philly, and I think they don't want us to fit in. If you look at the statistics overall, in 2001, our employment was pretty good. Now we're at the very bottom, like the Reverend said. They don't want us to work. They want to incarcerate us. They want to shoot our young. They don't want to give us justice. Even some of our celebrity athletes who want to speak out for us, they want to shut them up. And then they want to say, no, this is against the American way, where freedom of speech is supposed to be the American way. He should be able to say the things he wants to say.
Yeah.
But because he has a black voice, he has to stay in his place.
Yeah.
So where they want us to fit in, they still want us on the back of the bus.
And let me ask you this as an educator. Are you helping your students and people to understand this so they can try to grow to fit in what's comfortable for them?
Every day, but the youth today, they see it, and they feel it. They explain to me all the time, like, what am I supposed to do? Because when school is done with me, how do I fit in?
Sure.
How do I get out of high school and go to college and so on? Filling out FAFSA, that's a problem. Getting accepted to certain universities, that's a problem. If I'm not dunking the basketball or running a touchdown, how do I fit in? How am I accepted?
Good.
Where's my place? Do I have a value?
Yeah.
And
Thank
they're
you.
confused that way.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Tell us your name.
I'd like to answer that question. I'm Keith Collins. I'm the activist pastor at Church of the Overcomer in Delaware County. I think that we'll never fit in. This country was designed, it was built on white supremacy. We were brought here as less than human beings. We were brought here as chattel. We were brought here as property. And it doesn't matter what you be educated, like my good brother over here. You can be Calm, you can be Malcolm, you can be Martin, you can be Betty Shabazz, or you can be Coretta Scott King. You can pull your pants up or you can have them sagging. It wasn't designed for us to fit in, and that has not changed in 400 years.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Great answer. Anyone else? Tell us your name, sir.
Steve Harrell, Executive Managing Partner of Silkman Holdings, LLC. And to the gentleman that already spoke they're right. We do not fit in at all. But there is ways we can fit in. You have to look in the 70s and the 60s where all you needed was a high school diploma and you walked out of school with a certificate to be a plumber. And those were the jobs that have been taken for us. Now there's a thing where they want everyone to go to college. So taking out all of the the industrial jobs for us, so that now we have to struggle to get to college, and college are the astronomical fees to get in college.
That's correct.
And most people of our color, they don't even have the aptitude to get to college because they weren't trained that way. So when you don't have the tools to get to those areas, and you look at the college graduates that did get there, when they graduate, they're still not a job. So you have to look at where we spend the money. It breaks down to economics. And where we spend this money, you look at bottled water. Everyone drinks bottled water. We only make up 14% of America, but we spend $910 million on bottled water every year. That's 17% of the bottled water, but we own none of those companies. See, until we start bringing in transgenerational growth, where you have a business where you can hire your nephew and you can hire your brother and your son like the other races do, it's going to be impossible for us.
Okay, wonderful. Anybody else would like to respond to question one? Go ahead, tell us your name.
My name is Jamal Henderson. I live in West Philly. I am an activist in and I work in harm reduction. And I don't think, I have to agree with what my fellow panelists have said, and we don't fit in. But I think though that one of the ways that the only way we're gonna fit in is if we have a voice in the government that's making the rules. You know, right now, everything that's decided, every rule that's made is, you don't hear a black voice in there. And the ones that you do hear don't have common sense. You know, they're running around here behind Trump like this man's got sense, and we all know he's off his rocker.
Gotcha. Anyone else before? Yes, sir.
Real.
Say your name one more time for us.
Reverend Langston, Washington.
Yes, sir.
We're in a place where we are a threat as black men to white America. They think we want their women. They think that we're going to take their jobs. None of that's true, but that's what they think. And they'll use that to try to keep us down. It is harder today, as my brothers have said, to get into school as a young black man. It is very hard, because now they want to change the quota system. They don't want to get the black man in unless he is an athlete. If he got some intelligence, don't worry about him. So we have to really understand where we are in this particular economic strata.
Now, most of you who have responded, you said that it's very hard to get a lot of our young people in college. What do you think they need to do? Because I know when I went to college, 20-something years ago, it wasn't as bad. So what do we need to do to help change that? Go ahead, Mr. Educator.
One of the things that I see that is damaging to our youth, and I blame this on the industry, they promote violence through entertainment. It's a strong facet. I do agree with the money situation, if we could do that. But we have entertainers who are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they're not doing it. And like you said, our politicians not even supporting us. They're too busy trying to fatten up their pockets. But at the same time, the industry that is booming and taking over our children's mind is the entertainment business. They're too busy in the classroom looking at YouTube. They're too busy watching rap videos. It's all about smoking weed. Our girls want to twerk and get on the pole. They want the fast money. They don't want the work money. College is a joke to them. But think about it. Our president, who's laughing at us for being one of the lowest in economic and employment, is thinking it's hilarious. But what's his education? He proved to the world, as long as you got money, you could be the president of the United States. He doesn't deserve that chair.
Right.
When you're laughing at your own citizens, when you're putting us down, when you're telling America, this is my African American, when you're telling America, hey, screw all that.
Right.
Colin Kaepernick's a damn joke.
Gotcha.
How can you do that? How can you say that? But that's what he's doing. And America's accepting of that.
Okay.
And our kids are watching this. And they're feeling less important every year this man is in that chair. Less important to want to go to college. Less important to want to do better for themselves. They're thinking, I can go get the fast dollars. I can become a rapper. I can get dope on the streets. Or I can go to the strip club and strip and get fast money. That's what we're competing with. Entertainment. We're losing it.
You want to say something real quick before I go to question number two? Tell everybody your name.
My name is Kenny Walker.
Yes.
I'm a spoken word artist. And I wanted to point out something about the kids also. And when you, what the doctor was saying about the president, because what he said was, vote for me because he told us, what do you have to lose? Well, we're finding that out right now.
Okay.
These kids are seeing what's going on in America, and it's reflecting. My kids came home, my kids' school last year, started having security guards, and I was very shocked because when they came home, they said to me, "You know what, Dad? All the security guards are white."
Wow.
And as being a mixed school with not a big Afro-American population, a black population, they were a little nervous about that. I actually had to call the school and talk to the principal because you hired all white security guards and you have black kids who have seen YouTube video of the man pulling the girl out of the chair, and they know that they are suspect just because they're black. And, this is what our society has done.
Good. I definitely want you to respond real quick. I want to go to question number two because I know this is juicy for you. Go ahead.
I'm Sterling Johnson. I'm a mental health advocate and also a harm reductionist. I just wanted to respond quickly. I think there needs to be a focus on the institutions, whether it's education, whether it's the carceral state that includes healthcare and education and actual criminal justice and the surveillance of black people generally, black men specifically. I don't put the blame on, they're just kids. These are just kids. I'm not gonna put the blame on people. I'm not gonna tell people to pull up their pants. The focus has to be on the people in power, and there are people in power. In Philadelphia, there are black men in power. And hopefully they're working every day, but we can't say that we're not on city council, we're chief of the police, we're head of the behavioral health system. The issue is the institutions. The institutions have to be changed. They can't be based on control and domination of black men specifically, and we are the danger. The way that we fit in is that we're the most dangerous, our bodies are the most dangerous thing in America, and they have to be controlled. And we have to focus on that, of taking apart the institutions that say that. And we have to combat every single narrative that goes on that, and say look, a little black boy, and let him know that he is loved, and that he is not a danger, and that he is amazing, just by his being. So
good. Thank you for sharing.
Just let me add real quick. We need to have a seat at the table as black American men. How many black American men are in the Senate? 2 out of 98.
Yeah.
2 out of 98. How many are in the House of Representatives? Less than 30.
Yeah.
Out of 435. How can you have power or have influence when you can be marginalized?
Gotcha. Thank you. Second question, and like I said, you can definitely respond however you want. We appreciate you so much. Is there a need for the black man in America? They're killing us left to right and suffocating us daily. So is there a welcome extended to us or what? Come on. Yes.
I don't know about a welcome extending to us, but we definitely need it in this country because our women need us, our children need us.
Yes.
They can't be here by themselves. But the thing about it is, we need a position of empowerment. Like, our faces should be on some of that money we spend it. Our faces should be on it. And I mean like a Sojourner Truth or Harriet Tubman or Frederick Douglass or Nat Turner. Why are our faces not represented in the money? We built the country.
Yeah. From
the south to the north to the east and the west, we are deserving of our face on those dollars. We're deserving of a place. Our statue of our people should be on a Mount Rushmore. Our kids should open up a textbook and it has a black cover on it as a founding father. Because our fathers found this country just as well as their fathers and set the tone just as well as their fathers. We have a purpose. So yes, this country needs us. We were born here, we were bred here, we're Americans too. We've had many, many black men giving up their life in this man's country and his wars. So we need it. Yes, we are needed.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Just putting on that, we are influential in every bit of American culture. And it just would not, we are needed here. We just need, like everyone at the panel says, we just need a place at the table.
Like It Is will be right back. So when you talk about having a place at the table, which the gentleman said about in the Senate, we talk about voting. We talk about people voting people into office and stuff like that. We're going to have to change that to get the right people at the table, at the welcoming table, to make the changes for us.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd just like to say quickly, what has to happen is we have black people. We do have 2 black senators. We do have black people in Congress. But is it just black for the sake of being black, or is it a black face on a white agenda? Are they part of one of these 2 major political parties? We don't have the Adam Clayton Powells. We don't have the Shirley Chisholms. We have people that are after that loftier position. They're never satisfied. We have black police chiefs, but what do they do? I grew up in the Rizzo era.
Okay.
And I hate to say this, but I know a lot of things happened to us, but in the Rizzo era, I felt safer than I do with Ross now, with stop and frisk and all the things that's happened to us. So we need to vet our black people hardcore, and not just vote Democrat or Republican. Let's have some third-party candidates. Let's have some grassroots people that are out for us. Now, as far as being welcome, this gentleman, this brother, he's a doctor. I see he was in the Corps. When I was 19 years old, I was jumping out of airplanes. Okay?
Gotcha.
I was a scout. I was a scout platoon leader. I'm a decorated veteran. I'm a decorated police officer. But I got out of that because I realized it was system white supremacy. I've been a college professor. I've been a pastor for 40 years. I'm a husband for 36 years, grandpa. All the things that they say do in America. But when I walk in my house, I'm a nigga in America.
Okay, this gentleman here, thank you. Tell us your name.
Yes, my name is Al Flowers. I'm a paralegal and I'm a reentry employment specialist. The brothers are right about, where we fit at, and, we do have a place. But one thing has to be taken into consideration. We just 50 plus years removed from segregation, Jim Crow. My generation was the last generation that experienced that. And the things that goes on now is just a different form of it. This is just a new Jim Crow, and some people haven't recognized it. Just like he was saying about the people that go to college today, they got the black guys, the athletes, they do go to college today, but the difference is today, when black people were going to college back in the 60s and 70s, they're graduating with a degree. These guys that goes to college today, to Alabama and to Penn State, they don't get a degree. Only 1 or 2 of them may go to the pros, and they kick them to the curb, because that's a part of that little racist thing. They use them up. And see, we don't recognize that. And see, just like I'm gonna give you an example in Philly, we talk about electing people. The last election that we had, the midterms that we had, we only had a 12% turnout in voters.
That is correct.
And the black people don't vote here in Philly. See, that's one of the things that we have to change.
That's correct.
Because see, it's not all about what other people do, it's what we do. And see, when I go to the voting poll in the rain and you only see 1 or 2 people there, what is the problem? The problem is us a lot of time, because see, when you look at it, I look at the example of the avenue that I grew up on, which used to be Columbia Avenue. It's now Cecil B. Moore. That whole strip used to be black, black owned. You can't find one black owned person on there now. What happened? We let it go. So the only thing that I'm saying is that we need to make a change, because see, our generation, my generation, the generation above me and the one below me, it's not going to change our mentality, because I still have Jim Crow in my mind, because I remember what I had to go through when I was 6 years old. I remember some of the things that went on, and the people that above me, Trump, he remembers all of that, and they trying to keep the status quo. And so that's all it is about. So we have to understand that we have to make a move ourselves, because we belong. But we have to get out there and do something instead of talking all the time, just like I say. People say, well, I don't vote. Okay, well then you got to accept the changes that come here, because Philly is a place, and I've been totally disappointed in Philly for years because of the voting, because they just don't vote. And the problem is us.
Gotcha. Yes.
I actually want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Go right ahead.
Because only 12% of black people voted. But what were we voting for? You know, our current city council shows that they care nothing actually about what 3/4 of half of Philadelphia is in poverty. And every time you turn around, city council is passing another law that's putting another tax on poor people. So, I mean, mind you, I vote every year, but it makes you not want to vote for nobody. You know, I live in West Philly. Janie Blackwell is my council person. They just tried to pass a construction impact tax not too long ago. This tax would have made it so that a 2-bedroom apartment would have started running $2,000 a month in Philadelphia.
Wow.
And they want to call that affordable housing. It took us 3 months and a whole bunch of hell raising to get that shut down, and they still turn around and are trying to pass the same sub fund that would do the same thing. Only now they're not even trying to pass the tax that would put money into a housing trust fund.
Yeah.
So essentially, what City Council is telling us is, we'll raise your rent, but we're not going to do anything to help you.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, we need to change who's at the table, but we need to make sure that those people are the ones who's really looking out for the majority of Philadelphia. You know, when nationwide there's 140 million people in poverty, and half of those people are black, there's an issue with that.
Yeah.
And until people start addressing those things, those issues aren't going to change.
Gotcha.
And you're not going to stimulate people to want to vote, to go out here to do anything for the economy.
Good. Very good point. Let me move to the next question. This is going to be really key, talking about our voices in the community. You know, where is the black man's voice in America? All the black organizations seem watered down constantly. When do we have a say-so in moving this country forward the way we would like to? Yes, go ahead. Tell us your name.
James Campbell. I'm a drug and alcohol counselor. I feel like we need to unite as a community. That's part of the thing. That's what's holding us down. Everything we speak about today has to do with the lack of our community. They say it takes community to raise a child. There's a lot of black men that aren't in the household. So we need to get in there into those households and help out. You know what I mean? If he has a nephew, I can be that father for his nephew. You know what I mean? We got to come together. The Nation of Islam used to always say, do for self. Do for self. That's what we have to do. We have to do for self. We need a revolution or something. We need to bring ourselves together again. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to crumble. You know what I mean?
So in your opinion, how do you feel that...
We don't have a voice. We got to get our voice. We got to find our voice again. We lost it. You know what I mean? We've lost our voice.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. So we got to uplift ourselves again and be the men that we need to be in the community. We have to be.
We have no voice.
Gotcha. Your name? Go ahead.
My name is Alex. I'm Alex Stewart. I'm a community leader. And just to piggyback off of it, is about community, and that's what the black man brings to America, is community, the values of bringing, building a community. If it's not my child, then building that up. That's what we were built on. You had a lot of the strikes and revolutions based off of black laborers. We represent a lot of the working class. We represent what the working class struggle is. We are an indicator of where that will be. You see a lot of things that happen in the black community, whether it be crack, whether it be prison, manifests itself up to the white community, where you have opioids now, where you have, just militarization of the police, where you have protests, and you have MRAF rolling up to protests in city streets. These are all manifesting of things that happen in the black community first, but now we're expanding. You have, like we talked about earlier, you have unemployment that is expanding to our country as a whole. And that is sort of what Trump tapped into, is that same things that had affected the black community are now affecting these white people in these suburbs, and they don't know how to handle it. But we've been handling it. So we kind of are natural born leaders as we speak here, because we go through these things, we've been going through them for years. And if people looked into our communities and tried to find solutions that we came up with our own with no government help, then they would see the solutions forward. And solutions are communities. The solutions to get kids out of the street is to build that community and have after-school programs. But if you close the after-school programs, how can you be mad that they're selling drugs?
Yeah, good. Go ahead, real quick.
When young men here were talking about community, it's a thing because in the black community itself, the black community is such a strong community in itself. Each one teach one. We have that mentality, and it's like that Public Enemy song, "Don't Believe the Hype." The hype out there is that we don't have that.
Right.
That's what they want. They want white America to believe that we don't have that, but we actually do. And we look out for each other, and we just need to expand that and come together more.
Great. Real quick, because I want to go to this next question is going to get you.
I just want to say I agree with you. We need to support black businesses.
Yeah.
We need to support. Like 52nd Street is full of black businesses. A lot of my friends own businesses over there, black-owned real estate companies, black-owned restaurants, black-owned clothing stores. We definitely need to support our audience.
Gotcha.
We also, as black leaders, we also need to, as the people who have those properties, ensure that we are investing in the communities, not just to make a profit.
Right.
Because that is the
Right.
capitalistic way that rules our communities. It's always coming to our community only when profit is available and not investing just to build it.
I know that many of you have just had your hands up about the police brutality and social injustice. Will the black man ever stop being the target of police brutality and social justice? Who wants this? I know this is heavy. This is heavy.
Not soon.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Okay, it's many sides to that answer, because we're always going to be the target, because of racism is always going to be here.
Right.
But we have to look at the situations that we're in. There was a time when you had jobs in the community. So there's no more jobs. You can't go to the rec centers. The schools will charge you if you want to bring a program in there. So these kids are in the latchkey times from 3 to maybe 8 and 9 o'clock. They're out there doing whatever they want to do because they have to survive. Just like when in the 80s when there was a large drug surge. Most of these drug dealers came out there because they had to make money because they didn't have any other ways of making money.
Okay.
And then we had that's what added to the prison population increasing with Bill Clinton. But if you bring in jobs, like you always hear Trump talking about, we made all these jobs here, there's jobs here, but where are these jobs going? And how are we qualifying for these jobs? So until we can bring more suitable jobs and bring manufacturing back to the areas, we're going to be in the same situation because, one, the majority of our youth are on a education level that's well below the mainstream. Like in Philadelphia, a D is now a 60, and that's horrible. So they're dumbing it down for us, so by the time they even reach the college age, they don't qualify. And they don't qualify for a job because they don't have the experience, so they go out there and commit these crimes. So we have to bring economics back into the community.
Okay.
Jobs.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Educator. Yes.
It's going to be a war, because today's young black guys, they're not afraid of these cops. They're not afraid of even dying. They put it in the songs. They got a song, Pick Up the Stick. Pick up the stick.
Right.
In the entire video, they got guns drawn. And they're pointing it at like people in authority positions. Like, you come here, you're not gonna leave here. So that's the message that they're sending. So are we targets? Yeah. Are we refused to be targets? Yes. But what's gonna be done about it? They're gonna shoot back. And that's the message America needs to hear. They're gonna shoot back. And then unless the police are willing to continue to take innocent lives, guess what? They're gonna start taking yours.
Right.
History is repeating itself.
Go ahead, sir.
History is repeating itself. What he just said happened in the 50s and the 60s. And if you go back further, it happened in the 20s and the 30s. They went and they took up arms to defend themselves. It's just going to happen again. Now, I'm not an advocate of violence. I advocate, when you talk about places for people to go after school, I'm a pastor. I should open the doors of my church so you can go into the fellowship hall or the recreation hall. When I was growing up, the local churches did that. And there was somebody there to help. They helped you with your homework. They might even have a snack. You learn basketball because you're able to play it in there. But these days, we don't do that. And this is where we've got to wake up as a people.
Gotcha.
And I'm getting older. These young folk want to step up a little.
Okay, let me go over here to this gentleman. Yes.
Real quick. Will it ever end? I don't think so. I'm speaking from a perspective of having been a decorated cop as well. As I said, I passed tests for FBI. I thought I was going to go all out there. But when I saw it was all about white supremacy, I said, I'm done with this. I'll do something else. Now, the answer is not more black cops. The answer is not, because it's a system.
Mhm.
And black cops don't change the system. The answer is not body cameras, because they can turn them off whenever they want. That's like putting a Band-Aid on cancer. The answer is not even black police chiefs. There was a black police chief in Dallas that didn't want to fire that cop that killed the gentleman in his own house. So the answer will only be when we get back to like it was, as the brother said, back in the day, we had the Black Panther Party for self-defense. I don't advocate about, but I believe in vigorous self-defense. I will put in some work if you come after my family. Let me just say it like that.
Gotcha.
I'm a pastor, but I know how to handle my business. And I think if more of us begin to get these permits, we start going to the ranges, and when we start letting people know we're here to defend ourselves. Michael White, the young man that killed the gentleman that attacked him, I'm glad that he was not a victim. Let me go on camera. I'm glad that he was not a victim, because he would have been another victim in this system that is attacking our young black people.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I believe this will continue if we have people that are not from the neighborhood policing the neighborhood. We need community policing. We need people in those neighborhoods to be trained to be leaders. And cops are supposed to be leaders. They are paid with our tax money to serve us and to be our leaders and protectors. And they're bringing people from the suburbs to police these communities who don't understand them. So in a situation where you have truancy, they'll take a kid to jail for truancy. The community would vote to bring that kid home so that he can go back to school. That benefits the neighborhood. As long as we have outsiders, and that's any community, white or black, as long as you have outsiders from that community, policing that community, and not instilling the values of that community in it, then you will always have chaos. You will always have people misunderstanding and shooting to shoot first out of fear versus to take care.
Good. Let's go to this gentleman, then I want to go to another question.
We got to be real with this for a second. The police were originally meant and designed to catch runaway slaves. That was their original purpose. So slavery, racism was built into the police force to begin with. And until we address that, we're always going to be a target. Every law that's wrote, everything that's put on the books, black people are always meant to suffer behind it. I mean, let's look at the opioid epidemic right now. We got how many people died in Kensington last year? But yet you see people shooting up, you see people high on the street, you see drug deals happening right in front of cops and nothing happens. Go to 52nd and Race right now, and I guarantee you there's a goddamn cop car sitting on the corner watching the Chinese store. I promise.
That's real life, bro. That's real rap.
So they sitting out there watching, trying to catch the little weed boys doing whatever they doing, but you got people dying off of drugs in Kensington and they're doing nothing.
Gotcha.
So if Kensington's getting a harm reduction strategy, why isn't West Philly? Okay. Why isn't Southwest?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for your sense. Real quick.
I just want to touch on something real quick.
Sure.
Because it seems to be a prevailing conversation here where we don't have leaders. And we, in the 60s, the Black Panther Party did rise up and it did a lot of things for our community. We have WIC now because of them. We have a lot of different programs because of the Black Panther Party. We had Martin Luther King, we had Malcolm X, we had Shirley, we had all these people. But one of the things, see, the FBI closed the Black Panther Party down on purpose. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, assassinated. One reason we probably don't have leaders is because once we do get the leaders, there's a system established that once someone comes of power of color, let's close them down.
All right. Good deal. Let me go to this. You want to respond real quick?
I just want to. We got to talk about capitalism here. I mean, everybody is there. There's no room to be a leader. Everybody is working. Everybody is working their ass off all day. Yeah. They've got 2-3 jobs supporting them. Right. Like, there's no room for activism in people's time. The amount of displacement that happens for black families. We need to talk about housing. We need to talk about jobs. Like the carving out of every part of our economy to be surveilled and to be counted is what's happening. And let's not talk about if you give any money to Louis Vuitton or to Nike or to any of these global capitalist slave labor you're the problem. Don't talk to me about money. Don't talk about that's not going to save us. Is capitalism going to save us? That's ridiculous.
Gotcha.
They won't let Kanye be head of Louis Vuitton. They're like, no, a black man is trying to Louis Vuitton? You must be kidding me. You must be fucking kidding me. Right? So don't talk to me about capitalism. Don't talk about money. Don't talk about jobs. I got a JD. I got a master's. The amount of racism that's in every single institution, higher level education, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're still black.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about education.
Gotcha.
Talk about me about getting people jobs.
Right.
That's all. An actual job. I don't care. I'm not talking about people on the corner talking about give me a job that's gonna so you can stock groceries. Don't talk to me about that.
Yeah.
Right either. Talk about giving you access to capital, giving you access to actual brick and mortar, something. So you can actually give jobs for people that actually take care of their families. Not some 30K job that you can't even buy a house or do anything with. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They say jobs, I'm talking about fucking building capital for your family across generations.
Gotcha. Go ahead, and then we'll come over here real quick, and then we go to the next question. Go ahead.
Okay, we also have to place the blame on ourselves, and we've become very complacent and very lazy. When I was a kid, you had black businesses, but all of you remember, you old enough to remember Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor had an album, and he said, "Nigga is coming in town." You remember that? And he was talking about the Asian coming in to take over the businesses in the black neighborhood. Well, that new nigga has changed over so many times. We've had the Asians come in, the Sandinistans, the Dominicans. Now we got AI replacing us, and we still have not caught on the hill and ride up that hill to understand that we need to be that new person. And until we understand that, we're still going to be in a situation of trying to find out why we're in last place.
Gotcha. Young man, you wanted to say something before I go to this next question?
Yeah, a lot of this relies on us being uneducated. We can't just start businesses and understand that we need to invest, and that money is actually a tool, not something you just spend. If you're not educated, it really starts with the foundation of educating that young child and having after-school programs and things like that that make them want to understand to be a carpenter, to have community reach out programs to be carpenters and be electricians and to join unions. But we're not able to join those. We have obstacles that, on top of the obstacles of being in black impoverished communities.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and we don't even give it. We go to City Hall or our institution that we vote, and if we do vote, we go to City Hall and ask the people we voted for money to start our own unions, to start our own black community organizations, and we're denied, and we're given interest rates that make it impossible to pay those loans back, and then we lose it.
Yeah.
So it really is a revolving cycle.
Like It Is will be right back. All right, let me move here. We're going to talk about the black family and the problems that's going on, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the black family. Is the black family man viewed as a contributive factor in the black family?
The black man is the leader. I represent what my son and my daughter, who are 25 years old, so we're getting confused. They're not old then.
Okay.
They look to me as the example. My wife looks to me. Now, I listen to them in everything that we do. I try to be the example for them. I get up, I do what I have to do during the day in terms of whatever my workload is. I come home, I support them in school. My son just said to me the other day, he went back to work at his alumni, and they said, your mother and father were the ones that every other parent should have been like in our school.
Right, but a lot of these families today, as you know, gentlemen, they don't have a father in the household. They don't have someone that's setting an example as a black male.
But this brother said you need maybe an uncle.
Yeah, somebody else has to take that role. Somebody has to sit in and take that place. But also a lot of things, women look down to their husbands right now because generally the black woman is making more money than the male is. So she feels as though she's in control, and that makes the children look to the mother instead of the black man. So that it makes it, and it also makes for weak men when a lot of women are raising these men kids that become men without ever having a father role, or the father may be incarcerated, then come home, and they don't look to him for anything because you've been away for 10 years.
Right.
So you're not my daddy, you don't know me.
Right.
And that's hurting. It's hurting our community.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Educator back there. Yes, sir.
Right now, I'm starting to see a lot of single dads. I'm proud to say I'm one. I thought I was one of the only ones.
Okay.
Until I got involved with a lot of other fathers. And I'm starting to see a lot of single black male fathers. A lot. And it was surprising to me. I went to a little forum for it in West Philly, and it was shocking to see a lot of fathers with black men with their children. The only reason why it was shocking because I grew up without a father, and that's all you hear. But right now, I think that's changing. I'm starting to see a lot of fathers taking care of their children, taking care of their homes. Like right now in my neighborhood, it's a lot of married people. A lot of, I don't know how we got this bad stigma that we don't take care of our families and we're not fathers. And I mean, so what if my woman makes more money than me? I don't care. We can work together no matter what. I want to be there for my children.
Thank you.
I want to be there to see them grow. I want to be able to see them do things that I probably wasn't able to do, and I encourage that. But at the same time, I am saying that, you know, this stigma that black men are not taking care of their children, where's that coming from? Who started this? And why?
Yeah.
The prison industrial society. Because 30% of us have had some sort of interaction with the prison system.
Okay, let's go to this gentleman right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, the war on drugs started this problem. You know, I'm a bicentennial baby, so I was born in '76. My parents didn't do a whole lot of jail time, but they did have their issues with drugs, and for that reason, I spent more time with other family members than I did with my own father. You know, my uncle, rest his soul, taught me a lot of what I know and instilled a lot of the values that I have. For instance, Boy Scouts. Up until he passed away, I was a Boy Scout. I learned how to swim through them, I learned how to survive through them. You know, using the Boy Scouts, I saw a good bit of the country. But it also taught me, you know, dignity, respect, how to treat people, what I should expect to be treated. And it's also, it's given, not having my dad in my life my whole time, made me work that much harder to try to stay in my children's lives. I got kids that have ranged from 22 to 12, 3 of whom, the youngest 3, I'm raising by myself.
Wow. Okay, right back there. Yes, sir.
Okay, I have to beg to differ where the problem started, because we have to look at the conspiracies as well. And when the first way it broke up the families was bringing these projects in. When the projects came in, you could be able to make as many babies as you wanted, pay minimal for bills, but you couldn't bring that man into the house. So it's always been a divide and conquer situation with our people. As long as they keep these conspiracies going on to separate the black man from the black woman, we're always going to be separated, and there's always going to be problems within the black families. Then now how it's separated is you have blended families. You have fathers taking care of somebody else's kids when he has kids that he can't take care of because there's controversy between him and his wife. So now the blended family is in there, and the kids from the blended family don't respect him because he's not their father.
Gotcha.
So until we can work together on some of these issues, we're going to always have problems within the black family.
Got you. Let's go to these two gentlemen, and I will get to my final question for today. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, these memes, these cultural things, I don't think they really exist. I don't believe the data about female-headed households being detrimental to people. I mean, I understand. I don't know. We come from a different place. We are different. We've always had different ways of organizing. I'm just gonna speak for myself, and I think that it can be applied to many different people. It was always a community of people that helped raise me. I believe, even though my mother was a primary caretaker, I had a huge family that took care of me as well. You know, and that's resilience. That's strength. I don't believe what the media tells me about the disparities and what the black father does. My father isn't perfect, but he's a nice guy. He's a beautiful man. You know, it's not don't tell me how bad and evil the black man is. I mean, I reject those narratives. I just reject them. I do believe maybe there are some issues. A lot of bad things happen, but they're usually a consequence of racism, the inability to get access to capital and to jobs, and also being incarcerated. That's the real problem. I don't know. We're just trying our best to work with this extremely racist system. So I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna put that upon the people that raised me just because they were trying their best. You know. My father would probably visit me 3 times when I was raised in Bucks County. Of course, we got stopped like 3 times, you know?
Right,
That's what happens when you live in a really racist place and you have a dark black man driving around his son trying to teach him how to drive, you know? That's what happens. It's like, we need to stop blaming. I'm just not into this blame game of black people. I'm on their side.
Got you. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead, sir.
You know, I just want to piggyback like what the doctor said earlier. You know, there's a lot of single fathers. I'm a single father also. And the media and the country want you to have the stigma of us, you know, not taking care of our kids. When you will find, I'm sure, all of us on the channel can probably name at least 5 single fathers or 5 fathers that they know that are very close to their kids. You know, and this is something that, you know, started way back in slavery when it was separating us back then to keep the families apart and keep the black man away from the woman and just to degrade the black man in front of the woman and in front of his kids. And this is something that's just still carried on in different legal ways that you can get away with it now.
Sure. Real quick, and then I'm going to go to this final question. Go ahead.
I give a lot of props to the black women who are strong and taking care of their children by themselves. I really do. Because I didn't learn how tough it was. I had to do it on my own and play father and mother at the same time. So my hat's off to those women. But at the same time, we as black men need to gather our families and stick to it and raise our families and not fall into the luxury like, oh, I got a baby mom, but I got a side job and all of this. What's a baby mom? What's a side chick? When you got a family. Raise your family, bro. Raise your family. That's what I'm saying, man up.
Gentlemen, there are a lot of issues with black men being in prison. You know, what I do in the media, and I also work in forensics mental health, you know, there's just some of the psychological issues that goes on and changes that black men need to undergo. The lessons that are in the prison, the intakes and all of that, more blacks are in prison than other races. What cycle needs to break in order for the black man to be restored their greatness? The black man was once considered a great icon of the world. What do you think?
I've always been taught.
Tell us your name.
Vincent Campbell, mental health provider. I actually have seen this many, many times where we don't get a chance to speak to anybody about our feelings. We're always being told that you're soft if you talk about your different feelings. You can't cry because you're soft, you know, different things like that. If we really speak about different things that are going on within ourselves and in the community, then we can maybe be able to, you know, change the directive of what we're doing and not just act out with aggression and stuff like that. Because of course they love an angry black man, because an angry black man can go to prison and they become a free slave. And now they have free slave labor, and now all of a sudden they got people making, you know, different goods for 30 cents on the dollar. You know what I mean? Where they're not doing anything. So I mean, if we really want to start breaking down different things, we need to really start talking about us. Our feelings, our experiences, and different things that have been, you know, impacting us from the very beginning.
So do you believe that a lot of black men hold things within? They don't like to share.
Absolutely.
And why do you think that is? Are they suffering with anger issues or just?
Yeah, we have different traumas that are going on. Yeah,
Okay.
we're not supposed to speak on it, because if you speak on it, then you're weak. Right. You always have to have this persona that you're supposed to be the strongest one on the block. If you show any type of weakness, oh man, exactly. You're done. You're pussy. Because you get no respect that way. So you're always looking for respect on the street, everywhere. You're always looking for respect. And if you have any type of chink in your armor, you have no respect.
Okay, let's go right up here and then I'll come back to you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I can agree. One of the things about prison life, you had a conversation. You said that the black man is three of the four things you said was represented underemployed and
underemployed, right?
Incarceration,
yes, sir.
And with mortality. Well, I've experienced 3 out of the 4.
Wow.
And I'm not mortality.
Got you.
But you know, I look back at it, and I look back at the things that go on in the black neighborhood. Because when I was coming up, we thought it was a badge of honor when one of the guys got out of prison, and we, you know, patted. We was young, and you know, we didn't know what you really had to go through, but we thought I'd pat him on the back, and you know, hey, you this and that and all that. So that was embedded in our brains. You see what I'm saying? So it's cool to do that
Right.
until you actually get in.
Gotcha.
So now that I have experienced everything from that nature there, and it was a long experience, wasn't a short experience.
Gotcha.
You know, I see the differences now, and I work with reentry, and I know, and I can recognize certain things about a person, you know, that you can just take a look at and say, well, we need to do something with this young man, you know, or try to help this young man because he's headed in a direction that he doesn't really understand that he wants to go in, you know. And see, we as black people, we tend to, black men, you know, we let our anger issues get with us. Just like yesterday, I was at a counter and I had to, you know, I'm still adjust to certain things because like you say, you know, when you've been in prison and you've been in the gang wars and all of that, you know, you have the little conscious thing about being tough. Somebody told me that you in the way, man. I'm trying to get my stuff out the line, you know, when I was in the Wawa. I had to control myself and this was a woman that said that, you know, because I was ready to, you know, because I was ready to tell her something. You see what, but I have to learn.
Sure.
See what I'm saying? This is where the black man, you understand, when these type of issues, you have to come through with that. You see what I'm saying? And I still fight those issues a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Instead of responding to it, you understand, I move on because, see, I know the difference between it. Because, see, I'd rather be out here than after if I would have slapped or something because I would have been right down at the ground.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
See what I'm saying?
Thank you.
You have to learn about those issues.
Yes.
And see, you can recognize those issues just like he's a pastor. You know, and I know he can see certain things with people. I know the brother here working in schools. You can see when a child is going to a different direction.
Sure.
We need to actually show something to those people.
Gotcha.
Because that's the way to go with them to help eliminate that situation.
Real quick response because we're going to get ready to wrap up. Go ahead.
Real quick. They had stigmatized us to the point where we had young black boys, even young black girls, in the 2nd and 3rd grade. They can predict right then and there if that person is going to wind up incarcerated. And they are building, as you and I speak right now, and planning for prisons to place them. We have got to break that cycle now.
Yes.
And it's starting right here with this group talking as black men.
Yes. Listen, gentlemen, we thank you. Real quick, you want to say something real quick because we're getting ready to wrap up?
Real quick.
Yes.
There's one thing that's been danced around here, and that's that prison is capitalism. You can't reduce an intake in black folk going to jail until we reduce the reason why black people are going to jail. And anytime you can walk out your door and you got a cop breathing down your throat, and you can possibly go to jail just because you don't want to give them your ID or tell them your name and you ain't done nothing wrong, then we're always looking at this problem.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you got black people who can walk down the street right next to a white person and have the same exact demeanor, and the cop will stop the black person before they'll stop the white person. They could both be cussing out somebody or smacking somebody down or whatever else.
Yes.
But the black man gonna go to jail. The white man just a little angry.
Good. Listen, gentlemen, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Give yourselves a hand for being here. This conversation has been so juicy about the black man's perspective in America. I want you to stay tuned because we're going to do part 2 of this on Like It Is. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. Like It Is can be seen every Saturday at 5 p.m. on Comcast channels 66 and 966 and Verizon channels 29 and 30. To watch previous episodes, go to the Like It Is on YouTube channel. Now from the Like It Is team, our guest in the studio, thank you and have an amazing day.